before I forget, I just wanted to add one thing to the idea that this is childlike. I do think the Jewish community would do well to, I don't know that they appreciate quite how childlike it is, because I will say that when I was finishing up my Judaic education at the age of 10, at that point, at 4th grade at Temple Beth Am, I feel like the majority of the students were really just humoring the tradition and the teachers, because by the age of 10, by 4th grade, you kind of know it's silly. At least the way it's being presented to you. Maybe if they'd gone with, some of the more sophisticated streams in the tradition. But yeah, by then we just thought the adults were kind of jokers, and it's very childlike. I don't know, maybe for a 7-year-old or something. That's not an insult. I never insult the people who they're intellectually profound, sensitive, formidable people who are deeply orthodox and who believe this is the word of God. I'm not insulting anyone's intelligence, but for whatever reason, people raised in a modern context, I don't know. Actually, I don't know. All I can tell you is that in 4th grade at the Temple Beth Am, we just thought it was silly at that point.
Okay, you get to sit on the pillows now.
Okay.
I get to sit next to the beauteous professor.
Okay.
So I had a thought, unless anyone else wants to jump in with a thought. Verse 29, chapter 29, verse 18. And sorry.
It's kind of cosmic that we got 29:18 in Deuteronomy today, considering what happened with you today. It's almost perfect, isn't it?
Right. Actually, I meant 29:18. Yeah, that's what I meant. It talks about walking as your heart sees fit, and this is from the Art Scroll commentary. Rambam interprets the verse as warning that people should control their desires before they are overcome with lust, because once they give in to curiosity to savor the forbidden, the craving becomes stronger and stronger till it requires ever newer and more exotic perversions to satisfy it. Thus, the sense of the verse is that someone should beware of creeping addiction to sin, for if he sins when he is watered, i.e. without a strong desire, those sins will be supplemented by a more serious degree of sin, those committed out of a thirst for stronger stimulation and more intense pleasure. Now, I believe in sin, and I think this really hits what sin is for me. I'm thinking of one particular type of sin, which anyone who's listening and is male is thinking about it. But I think he nails it. I think that is what sin is. You want to try a little, and you get to liking that taste. I think it's like sleeping around. You start sleeping around, and it is a high unlike any other highs, for me anyway. I would rather have that high than any other high in the world.
Right.
Seduce a new woman, the fall of her hair on the pillow, possession of a new body. To me, that transcends any other pleasure in the world. And this is exactly, and it's addictive, and you never can get enough, and the more you get of it, the more you want it. And I think he just nails.
Yeah.
That's what sin is.
I had a professor once who said that the cost of kinky sex is very high, and I interpreted it like that. That the problem with kinky sex is that then it's got to get kinkier and kinkier, and then you're out of control. I think that that can be true, but I don't know. I feel like, first of all, that kind of addictive personality, and I understand it. I'm the one chain smoking unfiltered Camel cigarettes. But the question is, what are you? You can address the question of, okay, why is it that I need this so badly? What is it that I'm getting out of this? And I think there are answers to those questions.
Yeah, it's not just a moral question. It's also a psychological question.
I think the answer to how one deals with those sorts of things, and how I've taken vices of my own in the past, is by exactly what it's telling you not to do. Identifying the will of your own heart involves hard work and internal and serious introspection. I think Look, and I worked with a lot of people who were heroin addicts, and the ones who could kick it were who understood what they got out of it and how they could then protect themselves from that behavior. So I think that you're right. There's truth in what he's saying because that's how it works. A lot of
Yeah,
times.
I mean, I think this must be what it'd be like for alcoholics and drug addicts.
But they're disarming us. Then they're taking away the tools by which we can conquer those needs to begin with. By saying, stop looking at your heart and your own personal constitution and needs, and just do what we're telling you. Well, that's not the route to self-control.
The route to self-control should come from within.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because that kind of thinking, that just leads to repression and
Repression.
performance.
Yeah.
I mean, you're performing a certain lifestyle outside of the home. Well, it's going back to the other thing, but then you're doing something else. I think it forces people to hide things because it doesn't give them the skills or tools to deal, or the permission to really deal with it, and so they just hide it.
Or you can,
maybe repression was the wrong word.
Or you can treat them like a dog, like a Pavlovian dog, and you can say, okay, this is what your need is, and let's say I've got a kinky sex problem and I want to kick it. So I go to a community that really punishes people who are into some kind of sex. Okay, well then I'm saying, okay, I can't handle this myself, so I'm going to get someone who will smack me each time I do it, and then I'll be scared, and so I won't do it. But that's not self-control, that's submission. Self-control is being capable of making the decision not to because you don't want to anymore.
And which is
I
better?
think, for me, that's...
And which is better? To do something because you think it is right, or to do something because the Torah says it's right?
Well, if there's something that you don't want to be doing, I would think it's vastly preferable to do it because you're capable of choosing not to do it anymore than to have someone beat you until you stop.
What do you think? You think it's better to do something because you think it's right, or it's better to do something because the Torah says it's right?
I'm reluctant to say it's better to do something because I think it's right, because I'm selfish. People are selfish. People interpret based on their own needs and desires. So if you're doing that as an individual, there is a danger in that. I mean, I think that's to be part of a discussion. It's got to be part of a dialogue, which is where community comes in and can be beneficial, important, useful. I don't know.
Yeah, other people's experiences is always insightful and useful as a point of reference.
Right.
But not because they're going to pick up a stick and smack you across the
Right,
face.
exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
In chapter 29, verse 25, at the end verse, it talks about gods that God did not apportion to the Israelites. So I'm thinking, well, maybe God apportioned Jesus to the Goyim.
Wait, this is 29:25?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, Franz Rosenzweig said the same thing, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not original with me, but still.
Well, no, but people don't say it.
Yeah. But like he's going off, Moses is going off on the Israelites for prostrating themselves to gods that were not given to them. But the corollary of that is maybe God gave gods to the Goyim, sun, moon, stars, Jesus Christ.
Right. I mean, it works for me.
Yeah. Well, but that's... I've met more Jews who are okay with that. Okay, so the Christians have their Messiah, and that's real, and we're okay with that. But Christians don't tend to be okay with the flip side of that. It's harder.
Yeah, they don't like it. Oh, God. It's okay for you guys to worship Jesus.
Yeah,
they don't really appreciate that.
Right. No, and the funny thing...
That's fine. You go ahead and worship Jesus.
My favorite thing is that you get these liberal Jewish movements like Tikkun and stuff. Well, they'll kind of repurpose Jesus. Oh, we love Jesus. Jesus is our homeboy.
Yeah.
And then they'll go to like evangelicals and they'll be like, yeah. And then they'll explain what Jesus is to them. And then and they think that the evangelicals are going to like them for it. And evangelicals are like, Jesus, man. Like, keep your fucking hands off my God. They don't say that, but it's just a different thing altogether. But
that's an interesting verse, actually.
And it is 29:28. Sorry, say it again.
29:25 at the end. God said He did not apportion to them.
That's when they had not experienced.
That's interesting because it resists that exclusionary kind of rhetoric, right? It resists that this is the one God, the only God kind of thinking. I mean, if we're to take it at face value.
Yeah, He had not allotted.
And this
to
is
them.
totally authentic to Judaism. I mean, this is the Jewish attitude.
Yeah.
You want to worship God through Jesus.
Jews don't proselytize.
We're not out there saying you're going to go to hell unless you